The largest collection of Stone Age fish hooks in Europe comes from coastal sites in western Scandinavia. Bone fish hooks were in use for at least 6,000 years from 8,000 to 2000 BC. Our experiment was dedicated to find out how the fish hooks were accomplished. Stone Age fish hooks are not always well preserved. So to understand how they were fashioned, we need to study the faunal remains, bone debris, and the hook preforms found at archaeological sites. Bones were worked with stone tools, so we also need to prepare the correct type of stone tools. Number 1 is a large barbless hook with notches for fastening the line. This type was made all over Scandinavia between 8,000 and 6,000 BC. It was replicated using a metapodial bone of elk. First, we remove the skin by the use of a stone blade. The sinews are taken out and will be used for making the lines. Then the articular end is removed by a prepared blow. Then the bone needs to be split to make 2 bone blanks. We can do this by grooving with a flint blade, or we can use a stone wedge and apply indirect percussion. Both techniques were used, representing 2 distinct technological traditions in Scandinavia. In Western Scandinavia, a lot of bone work was done using grinding techniques. With a grinding slab, we can remove excess bone and make a flat blank. And then we shape the outer part and the bend of the fish hook. Using a flint drill, a hole is made at the distal end of the bone, and then the inner part of the hook is grooved out using the sharp edge of a thin blade. The hook is nicely polished, and a new one can be made from the same blank. This results in a specific triangular bone piece, which we can recognize among the archaeological bone debris. Fish hook number 2 was replicated with a small metapodial bone of roe deer. The initial steps are the same as for number 1, but using a different procedure, we can make 4 hooks from 1 blank. We first shape the outer part, then 2 opposite holes are drilled. Instead of grooving out the triangular piece, we remove the inner part of the hook by grooving between the holes. In this way, Stone Age fishermen made the most of their raw materials, and the procedure only generates a thin piece of excess bone. For hook number 3, we used a split rib bone from a red deer. A rib is thinner and easier and faster to shape. The opposite is the case for the barbed fish hooks with a knob at the shaft, number 4 and number 5. They are dated to 4000 BC and were replicated from a metapodial bone of red deer. Making the barb, in particular the double barb, is difficult and needs careful planning. Grooving out the inner part and the barb with a flint blade took about half a day. Hook number 6 has a barb, elongated knob and a rounded shaft. The type is dated to the Neolithic Stone Age, approximately 3000 BC. In the archaeological debris, we found no traces of drilling, so to make the rounded shaft, the inner part was grooved out in a circular movement. The archaeological preforms also show that the bend was finalized by a transversal cut and then grinded and polished. Fashioning fish hooks with Stone Age tools can be hard, time-consuming, and sometimes frustrating. Considerable time and effort must have gone into making them. Perhaps it was a joint effort.